Um, yeah, and I will pass it over to Colin.
Thanks, Nancy, and good morning or good evening, wherever you are in the world, everyone. Thanks for joining. So again, I'm Colin Stieff. I'm on the Global Forest Watch team at the World Resources Institute. I'm a product manager, so I work a lot on understanding what you all need out of our applications and working with our developers and the rest of our team to make sure that we make the changes we need to. So any feedback that you have about the applications we review today, feel free to send our way. I focus a lot on globalforestwatch.org, which we won't cover today, but it is a related application, and also Forest Watcher, which we will cover today. So send your questions about those things my way. And then Nancy focuses a lot on MapBuilder, which we will cover today. So any questions or feedback you have about that, definitely send her way. So I think we'll start just with an overview or an introduction of Forest Watcher as an application and where it fits in with the other applications that we have. Then we'll do the same thing for MapBuilder, and then I think we'll dive into actual step-by-step demo following our tutorials that we have linked in the workbook. And we can pause along the way if you have questions, or I guess we have a dedicated time for questions and answers, but feel free to add questions in the chat. Or I guess raise your hand and we can address them as we go. Or Nancy, should we wait for questions and address them in the Q&A section, or should we stop along the way?
We can take questions along the way, but if it's something very specific, like that it's not related to what we are, to the step that we are doing, maybe we can wait till the end. So if you have a question related to what Colin or I are, explaining, just type it on the chat, and we can address that after. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, so I think I'll start by sharing my screen and providing an introduction to Forest Watcher. Okay, let me know if anybody cannot see my screen, but right now I'm showing the landing page for Forest Watcher web that's in my browser here, and also the home screen of the Forest Watcher mobile application here on the right. So maybe that's the first thing to understand about Forest Watcher. It is both a web application and a mobile application. So the core features of this application are spelled out on our landing page on the website here. Basically, this is a way for you to access Global Forest Watch data, or GFW data, offline. Whereas in globalforestwatch.org, which is our primary application that showcases global forest related data, that's intended for desktop analysis and a really global view. Forest Watcher, by comparison, is intended to focus in on field monitoring. So you want to take that data that we have away from your desktop on your mobile device and go in the field to do actual investigation of some of our data. In particular, we focus on deforestation and fire alerts. So this is data that focuses on timeliness. So it favors the time element rather than the accuracy. So if you're focused on accuracy of tree cover loss data, then you're going to want to use the desktop website, globalforestwatch.org. But if you're interested in near real-time alerts and maybe acting on some of this information, some of the satellite data, then Forest Watcher is what you're going to want to use. So we'll go through some of the main features when we get into the demo, but I think the takeaway here is that if you want to do desktop analysis, globalforestwatch.org is the best place to go. If you want to do field monitoring, then Forest Watcher is the best application to use. And today, today, what we'll get into is how to use Forest Watcher to create an area of interest that you're interested in monitoring, how to download alerts and other data for that area of interest, how to collect reports in the field. Obviously, we won't go to the field, but I think we can pretend we're in the field using our screen here, our mobile device. How we can view those reports on our web application, which is shown on the left again. And then finally, how to export those reports and view them in another application, which is MapBuilder. So I guess I'll just pause there and see if there's any initial questions about the big picture of Forest Watcher, because I think we're doing pretty well on time. But if not, then I think I'll turn it to Nancy to go over an introduction of or review of MapBuilder.
Yeah, thank you, Colin. I will share my screen now. So, as a reminder, MapBuilder is a product from WRI that allows users to create custom interactive maps featuring your own data with WRI's data sets and analysis tools. So this is the website that we have on MapBuilder. And this is a demo of what we are going to, to use today to visualize Forest Watcher reports. And I just want to give you an overview of, how this works and how others have used MapBuilder for monitoring and visualization activities. So, but as a reminder, I just want to share here the link where you will get more information about this product. So this is how a basic map builder application looks like. And here you will find where you can add your own local data and some of the data sets that are available on this template. As a reminder, or for those who are new, MapBuilder is a template that can be used in ArcGIS Online, that it's preloaded with some of the most relevant WRI datasets related to with to the GFW data or with Resource Watch data. Some examples of the data sets that we have available are the integrated deforestation alerts that you can for which you can select a time frame and you can run an analysis. If you have any questions about the data, you can always access the metadata and a link to download that specific data set of your interest. We also have fire alerts, 3 cover laws for different years, and some others that can help you to add more context to your local data or to your reports that you collect using Forest Watcher. There's also you can also draw maybe like uh, an area here, or you can upload your own polygons, and you can select some of the analysis that we have. For example, I want to know if I want to know the number of integrated alerts for that specific area in the last month, then I can run an analysis and I can get a number of the total integrated alerts for that specific area. I can print a report and share with others with other data sets and visualization of that area. And also related to land cover composition. So basically, with this product, we provide opportunities to contextualize global data and local data so that you can tell, you can share this story with others, or to keep your monitoring efforts and to give and to provide more support to your activities and your organization. I will also share some examples here, but I will also want to, to show you how this application looks like behind the scenes. So for those who already know, Map Builder can be created with, a Map Builder application for that you can use can be created with an public or organizational account in ArcGIS Online. Um, and you can customize your application with our configuration form that you will also find in our Map Builder site. And so basically, you will have a map and an application for you to add data on the web map and to connect with the WRI's datasets with the web map application. You can customize the logo, the links, the titles, and you can select the datasets that you want to include. And yeah, so for this session, we will be using the web map that connects to the application because we want to add new data. So some use cases from other organizations include the forest atlases for some African countries that we have partnerships with. For example, this is the forest atlas for Cameroon that they use to visualize all the data that they have related to forests. And they have their local data sets and the data sets from WRI to provide context. Um, what's a powerful tool that they use is that they also include documents to the map builder application. So anyone that have access to this map can also visualize any contents or any documents that provide more information to that specific area. And you can also embed this application in our ArcGIS Hub that simulates like a website so that you can provide maybe a dashboard or more contents to to that allows anyone to get more information from your organization. Another example that I have here is an organization based in Paraguay that works with indigenous communities. So here they also, as you can see, it's like the same structure, but yet they customized it to their or design or their own preferences, and they have their local data and the data from WRI too, so that they can have a look at so they can continue monitoring these areas that they protect. Um, and a specific example for Forest Watcher and MapBuilder is this organization that monitors a protected area for it's in Mexico. And what they do, for example, is that they update the reports uh, based on Forest Watcher, and they match them um, with other data sets of what that area is. And they also have the fires or the integrated alerts or tree cover loss, just to have, a general, a more broader idea of what's happening in that specific region, so that they know where to monitor or where, or just to share what their progress on their efforts to protect the area. Yeah, that's my introduction for Map Builder. I will stop sharing my screen and see if anyone has any questions so far after this introduction. Um, Otherwise, we can continue with the demonstration of how to collect data using Forest Watcher, and we will later add that example to a MapBuilder application. I think we're good. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. So I can take it from here, and I'll also add that oftentimes I see a lot of users and organizations come to globalforestwatch.org first as their entry into a lot of the applications that WRI has to offer. And they do a lot of exploration, and maybe they focus in on some areas. But for those organizations that do on-the-ground field work in very specific areas, they many times move to Forest Watcher. So the introduction is globalforestwatch.org. And then they use Forest Watcher to do actual field monitoring. And then often the evolution is they ask, well, how can we share this data? And our tool that we provide for that is MapBuilder. So the next natural application they use is MapBuilder. So again, often what I see is globalforestwatch.org moving into Forest Watcher and moving into MapBuilder. So they're complementary tools that have different purposes and use cases, and we encourage everyone to use them together. But you don't have to. Today we'll explore how these things integrate, but we know lots of users that use them individually. But I think sometimes it's not well understood that they do integrate. I mean, one thing that we'll highlight here in a second is that the MyGFW login can be used for all the applications. So if you register as a user for globalforestwatch.org, you can use the same login for Forest Watcher and for MapBuilder. So just an interesting note, and I think we can move ahead with the demo if there's no other questions. Okay, I'll share my screen now, and we are going to focus first on how to create an area, and then move into how to download data on your mobile device for that area, and then how to create a report, and then how to export those reports. And then I'll pass it over to Nancy to show how we can visualize those reports on MapBuilder. Okay, let me know if you cannot see my screen. Okay, so we're on the web application of Forest Watcher. We refer to the web part as Forest Watcher Web. And on the right is the mobile application. We refer to this as Forest Watcher Mobile. So that's how I'll refer to these. So we'll start with Forest Watcher Web and just take a look at the different sections of the website. This is the homepage, which provides a little bit of information about its purpose. So I've covered this a little bit already. It also gives some download links to where you can access the mobile application on the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store. So that's a note, is that you can access the mobile application on both iOS and Android devices. And there's also a link to download the .apk file if that is something you're interested in doing. From here, we can get into the web application, Forest Watcher Mobile, by either clicking the Access Web App or by using the top navigation here. If we click Access Web Map, it'll go straight to the first tab, which is the Areas tab. And this is where we can visualize all of the areas that we've created. And just to emphasize one more time that the login for Forest Watcher is the same as your login for globalforestwatch.org or MapBuilder. So if you've created areas in globalforestwatch.org, they will appear here. One caveat to that is if you've saved an established administrative area, like a country or a province or a subregion, those will not come over to Forest Watcher. It's only custom created areas that you'll see in the Forest Watcher application. So this is an example of an area that I created in globalforestwatch.org that is now present when I log into Forest Watcher. If I scroll down, then I can see a list of areas. I've only got one right now. We'll create another one, but you can see that there's a box that shows this under the section header, My Areas. If I keep going down, we can see that there's another section called Team Areas. And then there's a subheader that right now says Forest Defenders. This represents a team that I have. So this is a very common use case for Forest Watcher is I'm a field monitoring organization and I have a team of field monitors. So I can use the web platform to create a team, organize members or monitors for that team, and then provide assignments to them. We won't go into that today. It's not the focus of today's demo, but if you're interested in those features, you can log onto the website, register, go to the Teams section, explore those features. And we also have lots of Help Center materials that you can use to understand more about it. We've got other webinars that go into the details, and you can use this help button at the top to access some of that. So I'll scroll back up and I'll click on this monitoring area to view the details. So it'll go into the map portion. I can move around and zoom in if I'd like. There's also a button to view in GFW, so emphasizing again the interaction between these applications. If I click that button, it will take me to this spot in globalforestwatch.org. And the reason I'd want to do that is that not all of the data sets that we have on globalforestwatch.org are available on Forest Watcher. Forest Watcher really focuses on the deforestation and fire alerts, but if you're interested in some other data sets, like carbon data sets or protected areas, anything like that, then globalforestwatch.org is a great place to look. So I can scroll down and view more information about my area. There are templates. So what this means is a report template. You'll see in a little bit when we create a report, but each report has a template. And what that is the set of questions that your monitor will answer about their field visit. We provide some default report templates, 2 of them. One is text-based, and so I'll click that and you can see there's questions about providing a photo, basic questions like do you see deforestation or degradation, and a few more. And our second template is an audio report. So in many cases, monitors either can't or don't want to type on their phone, and so it's much easier for them to record what they see. So that's an option as well. But just another note that you can create custom template reports. Again, not something we'll go into today, but we have Help Center materials to help you understand how you can create custom report templates. We also can see that there are certain teams associated with this area. For several years, we've heard feedback about how users are using Forest Watcher, and it's different for your organization. Some organizations have one person that uses both web and mobile. Other organizations have a manager who uses the web application and then has a team of monitors that they organize on the website here. And still other organizations have many managers and many teams, and they're in different areas and different regions, and some monitors are in multiple teams. So we wanted to provide enough flexibility for organizations to support all of those special requirements. And so any area that you create, you can associate with many teams, none or one or several. There's no limit. And any team can be associated with multiple areas. So any combination you can think of, we can try to support. And again, if you're not super familiar with these functions and aren't quite sure what I'm talking about, please check out the Help Center materials to understand more, or ask a question in the chat and we can go into more details. For right now, I just want to focus on how to create a particular area. So if I'm in my Areas tab, I can click the Add Area button, and it will bring me to a place on the map. This took me to where I was on the previous screen. And then I've got a couple options here. I can either upload a shapefile, or you can see I've got some draw tools on the right-hand side. And there's also a text box for us to enter a name for this area. Before I do this, I just want to note that you can also create areas in Forest Watcher Mobile. So I'll go over to the right here, and in the Areas section, you can see I've got my same area here. And then if I click the plus button on the top right, then it presents me with 3 options. I can draw a new area, I can upload a shapefile, or I can import Forest Watcher data from a bundle. So bundle is a very special file type that is specific to Forest Watcher, and it allows you to transfer data from one Forest Watcher device a device that has Forest Watcher installed to another device that has Forest Watcher installed. So just another option. But I'll go back to the home screen and then turn back to our web application. So I'll zoom out to provide a little bit of context here. I'm around Leticia, Colombia. I want to note that all of the data and locations that we showed today, we have not field visited. So all the data here, we have not verified. This is just for example purposes. So if you don't take this as these are places we think should be visited or monitored, this is just for example purposes. So I'll zoom into a particular area. And let's pretend that this is an area that I'm interested in monitoring. So I had already said create area. I will click on the draw button here on the right, come over to my map, and you can see my cursor turned into a little cross or crosshair. I can click and let go, and you see a little green dot. And if I move my mouse around, there's a dotted or dashed white line that represents the boundary of my area. So I'll go to another location, click and let go again, and you can see that I can just draw the boundary that I'm interested in. I have two options for finishing this. I can either double click on the map, or I can come back to the very first point that I created and click that again. So I'll do that. And then if I take my mouse away, you can see that here is my boundary. So I'll give this a name. I'll say Forest Watcher MapBuilder demo. And the name appears on our boundary, and then I can say save. So now our area is saved. If I go back to our areas page, then we can see I have our new area here to the north. Now on my mobile device, I'm actually logged into my monitors account. So really quickly, I'll just show a feature of this application. I'll go into our newly created area, and then I'm going to associate a team with this area. So I have a Forest Defenders team. I'll click on that. I'll say add. And then I can see that the Forest Defenders team is associated with this area. So what that means is that any member or monitor that is part of the Forest Defenders team will now have access to this area. So if I sync my mobile device here on the right by clicking and pulling down, then I should see this new area in my mobile device because I'm part of this team. So while this is syncing, it just takes a few moments. I'll note that this application is intended for offline use. I think everyone's probably well aware that if you do field work or field monitoring, many times you do not have access to cellular data. You're far away from any cellular service. You're in tree cover, perhaps you're in mountain valleys, very difficult to get service sometimes. So it is a core feature of Forest Watcher to have this data available even offline. So this sync has finished, and now I'm confident that even if I go offline, I still have the data that I just downloaded. So what data did I download? I downloaded our new area, which if I click on areas, all of a sudden I can see my Forest Watcher and MapBuilder demo area here. And I also downloaded all the deforestation and fire alerts for the last 6 months for both of these areas. So if I click inside here, then I see a pink circle that says 66. And what that means is there are 66 deforestation alerts in this area. If I zoom in closer, then all of a sudden that cluster or circle expands and becomes different clusters or different circles. So I have to zoom in, or if I'm on my mobile device, I'm using the pinching action or gesture. So I'll come in closer, and once I get close enough, then I can see these individual deforestation alerts. If I tap on one of them, then I can see information about it. So this specific alert is a RAD alert issued on June 10th, so about a month ago. Very quickly, we have access to 3 deforestation alert systems. We have GLAD-L, which is based on the Landsat satellite. We have GLAD-S2, which is based on the Sentinel-2 satellite. And we have RAD data, which is based on the satellite that uses radar technology. And you can access these three different layers by default. They're all turned on, but in this gear icon to the top right, if we tap this, this shows our different layers. And at the top is alerts. And I'll click the gear icon again, and I can see that there are 4 options: all alerts, GLAD S2, GLAD, and RAD. If you are an organization that only uses one of these systems, then you can turn off the other systems. In some locations, the satellites perform better than in other locations. And if you know that, if you're familiar with your geography and your satellite system, this gives you a little bit more customization of what you can see on Forest Watcher Mobile. But I'll go back to our screen here. And I want to note too that you can track your GPS route as you approach this alert. And the way that you do that is by pressing this green play icon. This won't work now because, you know, I'm on my desktop computer and I'm simulating what it would be like in the field. But if you click that green arrow button, then as you travel, as you trek to this location, it will track your GPS route, and you can view that route on Forest Watcher Web, and you can also export it if you'd like to view it in other software like QGIS or ArcMap. Let's pretend that we have arrived at this location and you'd like to create a report so you can see what's happening, and you'd like to send a message or a report to your manager about what you're seeing. The way you do that is by clicking on the alert or any other location on the map with this pin button. So you can select a different location. Maybe the alerts are slightly off of the actual location, but I'll press the X button and actually select a report. An alert rather, and then I'll click this paper icon in the bottom right. And now it gives me the option to choose a template. So these are the same 2 templates that we viewed before. You can see them here on the left in Forest Watcher Web. And we'll just select the top one, which is a text-based report. The first question relates to a picture. We won't answer that question, so we'll move on. First question, do you see deforestation or degradation? We'll say unsure. And then next, do you think further action should be taken in this area? We'll say no. Any other notes? We can type in some further analysis required. Tap next. And finally, when we've answered all the questions, we can review the report that we just created. There is some information that's included automatically that you don't have to enter. So for example, it's automatically given a name that includes the date and time that you created it. It provides what area this report is associated with, the date, what language this report is in, the user position, the reported position. So you'll notice this is different. The user is where the device is, and the reported position is where you indicated the report was. So those can be two different locations. If this is associated with an alert, and we know that this was a RAD alert. And finally, the answers to our questions. So these are things that we can edit if we think that there's any mistakes. But if we're happy with this, then we can click send. And we see and notice that the report is sent. Let's pretend for a second that we were offline. So this will not automatically sync to our web system. If you are in that circumstance, then you need to manually sync this report when you get back to cellular service. So I'll show what that looks like. Back on my home screen, there is a reports section. If I tap on that, then I can see all of the reports that are completed and synced to Forest Watcher Web. Now, this tells me that we were online. But let's pretend we weren't, and actually we can mimic that in the settings by clicking offline mode. The reason you'd want to use this is if you're not in offline mode, then Forest Watcher will continue to try to get a cellular connection. And if you know you're going to be in an area without a cellular connection, you can proactively turn this on and save some data and some battery life on your phone by not having it try to continuously connect. But for today, we'll use this as a way to pretend that we're offline. So if I go back, then I can see we're in offline mode at the top here. I'll go back to my area and I will click a different location and click or tap on the Create Report button, quickly create another report, review it, press send, and notice that we don't see a green report sent message or notification. So when we come back online, then we need to come back to the home screen and we'll turn offline mode off. So now we're back online. If we go, well, if we look at the report section, I don't know if you can read this, but it says one report not synced. So that notifies you that you need to sync this if you want your manager to see it, or if you want to view it in Forest Watcher Web. So I'll tap on reports, and now we see a new section. It's completed, not synced to Forest Watcher Web. So let's sync this. We'll tap on our report. In the top right, there's this export icon with the up arrow. I'll tap that, and then I'll select the upload button. And now, I don't know if you caught that, but the report moved from the top section, which now disappeared, to the bottom section. So now we know that this report is synced. Okay, so let's come back to Forest Watcher Web. How do we view these reports? There's a different section in Forest Watcher Web under monitoring. So I'll tap that. And this is a different view of our areas with a few more features. So let's go to our new area here on the left, this Forest Watcher MapBuilder demo. Tap this, and immediately we can see a couple things. On the left, we have some basic information. We can see the size of the area, how many reports have been created for this area, and what teams are associated with this area. We can also see some green boxes on our map. These represent our reports that we just created. If we open up our map legend, then we can see that the green box is my reports. There's a few other things that you can visualize, on this map. There are many other options on this map that we won't go into today. I'll just highlight a couple of them just because we have a little bit of time, but you are able to view alerts, deforestation and fire alerts on the map. This is syncing those alerts right now. In terms of how far back it goes, it's the same as the mobile device. So you can access 6 months of deforestation and fire alerts on your mobile device, and also 6 months of alerts on Forest Watcher Web. You have access to planet imagery. So what that is high resolution imagery that we provide monthly. And if we select that on, then we can see that there's a new image appears. There's a timeline here on the left. And right now we're visualizing June 2023. And if we click the left arrow button or open up the box, we can select another month. So how about May 2023? And all of a sudden a different image comes up. One neat thing I really want to highlight is you can compare 2 dates of imagery. So if you click this compare button, we can see a swipe tool comes up on the screen, and we can go click and drag left and right to quickly compare 2 sets of images. And this really helps you understand what's going on and determine if this is actually an alert that you'd like to visit in the field. Sometimes the aerial imagery or the satellite imagery can really help us prioritize different alerts. But anyway, just wanted to highlight that. I think what we'll focus on now is how to access and export our reports so we can see them in MapBuilder. There's another tab here at the top that says reports. So in addition to viewing them on the map, we can also view them on a table. I'll click on that reports tab, and we can see all of the reports that are associated with my account. There are more here than we're interested in, so we need to use our filters to show just what we want. I will select the areas filter and then the Forest Watcher MapBuilder demo area. And now all of a sudden, we only see the 2 reports that we just created. You can see that this is today's date. And we had one that was associated with an alert, a rad alert, and we had one that was not associated with an alert. We just picked a spot on the map that we thought indicated something to follow up on. You can view details about these reports by clicking on the View button, and it takes you to an individual page that is sort of like a blog style post for this report, where you can see the basic information and the responses to the answers themselves. But let's go back to our table, and let's reset our filter. So how do we export these reports? Well, we can either say export all, and that will export all of the reports on our screen, or we can select a group of alerts and export them that way. So we've selected both of our reports, I should say, not alerts. So we've selected both of our reports. We can click the Export Selected button, and then we see this panel with a few different options. The first option is file type. So we can export our reports in a few different file types, either a CSV, which is just a table, a GeoJSON, which is a open source geospatial data specification, a shapefile, which started with the Esri mapping platform, but of course you can use shapefiles in all sorts of other platforms, a Forest Watcher bundle, which we mentioned before, or a PDF, which is a nice way to share a report over email or something. But we'll focus on the shapefile for today. The second section relates to fields. So we've got many fields in a report that we viewed here on the right. So if I open up on our mobile application, our report again, I mentioned the standard, automatically provided data, as well as the answers to our questions. We also have access to that when we export our reports. One feature or one piece of feedback that we often received is, well, there's sensitive information in these reports sometimes. And when we share our reports, we don't necessarily want to include everything in that report. So this section is a way to exclude or include only the fields that you want. So for example, let's say we don't want to include the user position. Well, I don't want to include where I am in the world right now. I can uncheck that. And now when I export my reports, that field will be excluded. So I only want to include the name, area, date, and I'm going to uncheck all the other options. We don't need the template ID or the name or the area or the reported. Well, we do want the reported position because that's the latitude and longitude of the report. And so now, in summary, when we export this set of reports, we will only include information about the name of the report, the area, the date, and the reported position. Finally, this section on download method. We can either download the data directly to our desktop, which we'll do, but you can also send a download link to a specific email or create a shareable link to share also in an email or a WhatsApp message or whatever other way you want to share this. This will allow you to quickly provide this to someone else. But we'll stick with download and tap done. And then this will be automatically added to my downloads. And we already downloaded this ahead of time. So we have these reports or slightly different ones, but similar ones on our Google Drive. And I think from here, we'll be able to use this in another online or offline mapping platform. So common use cases are ArcMap or QGIS. And for users of MapBuilder, which is an ArcGIS Online template. And I think from here, Nancy will show how to take the reports we've exported and share them on MapBuilder. One thing I want to note is that the column names in our shapefile are slightly different than the names of our columns or our fields in our report. Right now, when you export your report, you'll see in the table or the column question 1, question 2, question 3. So you sort of have to understand which question is that referring to. So what I mean is if I click view on a report here, then question 1 is our photo, question 2 do you see deforestation or degradation? So if you want this full title in your table or in your shapefile, you'll have to use Excel or ArcGIS or some other platform to edit that column. This is something we're working on, but just wanted to note that limitation, that you might have to understand what field or what question is this field referring to. So with that, I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll turn it back to Nancy.
Thank you. I will share my screen now. So let's pretend that we already exported our Forest Watcher report as Colin just showed you. So for those who already have a web map that is connected to a MapBuilder application, you can open your web map like this one. For those who don't have a web map right now, um, you can follow my screen or open a new web map in ArcGIS Online, and you can have a look at the demo here that I just shared on the chat. So for instance, here's the one that I already used for showing you on the demo, but I will delete this and upload this again. So we have our report, and what we will do is just find the add button and add layer from file in ArcGIS Online. You will see the files that are compatible to ArcGIS Online, and you just find the Forest Watcher reports that you want to include, and you click on import layer, and you will see that they pop up on the map. And here is, and here we have, the different locations that we monitored. And we can use, whichever column that we want to, to include here. For example, here it's displaying the name of the, for coloring, it's using the monitoring area report, time. But maybe it would be useful to have maybe the name of the person that did that did this monitoring work, or maybe we want the other questions that we have, and here is where it's relevant to remember the what question we are trying to to display here. For instance, I would like to have question 5, which is related if more research is needed, if I remember well, and then you will see that you have a no and a yes, and yeah, so we already have this on the map, and you can select the style that you want. For example, if we click on options, we will see that no is like pink, I guess, and yes is blue. But maybe I want to change this to another shape. For example, I will use some of this. Maybe I will use this, and I can make it bigger so that it shows, because maybe it's small for us. Maybe I can use 27 pixels. And for the yes, maybe I want something red, something like that. Or maybe if you prefer to have another, another icon, then you can do that as well. There are other different options here. For example, there are different, uh, styles depending on what you want to show here. But for the purposes of this demo, I will use this, and I can change the visible range. For example, if I want this to, if I want this to show up in any possibility, then I can add from world to room. But maybe I don't want, maybe I just want to it be visible when it's on a continent. display, etc. You can change the transparency, and you can click on OK and save this styling option. And when you are happy with this configuration, you can click on Done, and you will see the Forest Watcher reports here. You can click on Save, and you will see that in your Map Builder application, that it's connected to this web map. So here is the new styling that we added. Here is, the Forest Watcher reports of the no and the yes. And if we go back to our map, we want to change the name of that layers. Maybe we can add the date or something like that. And yeah, that's how you add a Forest Watcher report. You can also maybe create labels. So maybe you want to, to visualize maybe the ID or, the date, if you are going to add different reports from different dates here. So you want to know which ones are, associated with that, maybe with that group or something like that. So you click on OK, and you always need to save this, otherwise it won't be updated in your Map Builder application. So you will have them there. I'm not sure what did I save that? Maybe not. But yeah, you will have that on your map, on your web map, and you will be able to visualize those on your application. And yeah, so you can add as many Forest Watcher reports as you have capacity, depending on your type of account that you have in ArcGIS Online. But yeah, this is an easy way to share with others your monitoring work, and to to also link those to other data sets, for example, from other sources that you find for the area of your interest, and to also include the data sets from WRI. Yeah, so it's as easy as that to include a report in Map Builder. Yeah, I will come back to you now that I showed you. And yeah, that's a very simple way to add. Of course, there are many other options to style a report, or to and when you have, as you continue collecting information from the field, you will identify what you want to highlight for each report, or what is more important to communicate in a Map Builder application. So it will all depend of what you want to tell the others with this map. Colin, is there anything you want to add to this before we move to the questions?
I don't think so. I think that covers it. Yeah, I mean, I think one thing we want to emphasize is the simplicity of this. So let us know if you have any more specific questions, but it like Nancy said, it's as easy as that.
Yeah, so we have a couple of questions. And I can start with one that a user sent us when he registered. And it says something like, can Forest Watcher replace GPS navigation? What level of accuracy can be obtained on Android and iOS? Is that something that Forest Watcher it's related to? No, yes.
I think that most of the time, in my experience, users seem to use Forest Watcher in combination with other tools, like a more dedicated GPS device. It can replace a GPS navigation in the sense that it has GPS. Your device typically has GPS, and the way it knows the latitude and longitude of your position and where the report is where you are in the world, and uses that GPS signal. It is as accurate as your phone. So it depends on your device. Some devices have more accurate GPS than others. But I think in general, a dedicated GPS device is more accurate than a mobile device, like a cellular phone. Again, it depends. It depends on your device. But it's a challenging question to answer. I think that it can, but often it does not.
Okay, thank you. And one user that is in this session has some questions related to the product. Araguchi, if you want to go ahead and ask yours.
Okay. Hold on. Yes, my name is Haraguchi. Nice to meet you. I'm a FAO consultant supporting for Papua New Guinea, PNG. And I'm using the MapBuilder and the PNG using the MapBuilder as a deforestation alert system. Yeah, then it's great, and they are using it. But I have a couple of the issues that I would like to solve it. First one is the map builder has the create a link button. Then that the link button is not working properly as far as I tried. But can you try to use it in your applications? Maybe the one that I supported is maybe not properly set, but yeah, it didn't work very well. The one that I supported.
It was the share button, is that right?
Yeah, a share button, yes, yes.
Let's see. I'll try real quick on mine, and let's see if you want to try also.
Yeah. Or I can also show like what's the issue I have that when
Yeah, let me see if
And I can share my screen also
yeah.
to so that others know what we're talking about. So I will share my screen again.
yes.
So I have our demo map builder up, the Forest Watcher data visualization and map builder. On the right side here, we've got several controls. One of them is these three dots. If I click that, it says share, copy and paste the link to share. So if I copy this and I paste it, so that is working for me. It may be a specific issue with your map builder, and we can certainly troubleshoot that. Maybe if you connect with us after the webinar here, then we can work closely to figure that out.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, I can show the issue what I have, but since this is not the session only for me, so I would I would rather not to spend too much time just only for me. That's why I also book the other the session after this. But yeah, that's one question that I also wanted to solve it. And since I'm not using the latest maybe map builder application, I used to use that JSON script which it was introduced, but right now the map builder upgraded to use GUI-based setting. So, but I understand, but still it's using the same, even though we use GUI base, but it still create a JSON script. But so anyway, just that's what I'm, like actually PNG people are happy, but I'm just have a few issues that I wanted to consult. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing those. And I have another question that a user submitted during the registration form. And it says, is it possible to use the Forest Watcher application to georeference waypoints, tracking photos and videos? How much time? And another question, well, maybe we can address that, and I can split the other to another question.
Yeah, so is it possible to use Forest Watcher to georeference waypoints, tracking photos and videos?
Yeah.
I don't know if I understand exactly what the registrant is referring to. I mean, georeference, I think, is a pretty specific GIS or geographic information systems term. If they mean, can they create, waypoints in Forest Watcher? Yes. So I mentioned there's the route tracking feature that you can turn on with the play button. And of course, as we showed, you can collect reports in the field, which are basically waypoints because they have latitude and longitude. So you can collect reports along the way, and they can act as waypoints for you. It does capture photos. So in that basic template, the first question is to capture a photo. That's only one photo, but if you create a custom report, there is a field type called photo gallery, and that allows you to add between 1 and 10 photos. And you can add many different galleries. So maybe you have one gallery that is, take some pictures of the surrounding vegetation, and another gallery that says, take some photos of the human activity. And if you have, 10 photos set for one question and 10 photos set for the other, you could potentially capture, 20 photos. So that's possible. Video, we do not have, that is something we are considering, but it's hard because, that's a lot of data transfer and storage requirements, and we're trying to balance, speed of the application and device requirements with all the features that users would like. So right now, videos are not available.
Okay, thank you, Henry. I remember, believe this was a question from you, so let us know if that answered your question of if you have additional ones. If not, there's another question that says, how much time and this was, during the registration form, it says, how much time do we need to visualize that, the information from Forest Watcher to a map builder application? So I believe it will depend on, when you export these reports, because I'm not sure if there is like a connection that you can have automatically to MapBuilder. So my sense is that you need to export this data to ArcGIS Online, right? Okay. Yeah. I believe those are all the questions we had that we collected before this. If anyone has an additional one, let us know before we end this session. And while that happens, I just want to say thank you again for you for for your time and your interest in using MapBuilder and Forest Watcher for your organization and your work. We are here in case you need any more guidance on, or if you have other questions after this session. we're very happy to see people that joined previous sessions. So yeah, I will share our email as well on our map builder email, where you can send any questions that you have about the product or anything like that. And in the workbook, you will see all the, all the links that take you to more information about each step. And yeah, thank you again. And I will send you the recording of this session afterwards with a survey as well. Because this is the first session that we have on Forest Watcher and MapBuilder, as as a connection of, and so yeah, and we will also have another session in Spanish uh, to cover these topics. So if you are interested in that, let us know, or you can register in the same link that you use for booking this participation. Yeah. Yeah. One last question. Yeah, Haraguchi.
Yeah, okay. So are we closing this session now?
Yeah. Calling just for
Okay.
context. I have another session with Haraguchi after this. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So and I should join
Yeah.
the session with the link that is
Yeah, or maybe we
dedicated
can
for that.
stay. Maybe you and I can stay here, and when I can
Okay.
close the session for the others. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Understand.
Okay. So thank you all, and see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.